Good morning and welcome to Wake Up with me, Sonia Poulton, and guests. I'm outside the Royal Courts of Justice in central London, where people are starting to gather for the 10:30 a.m. hearing on behalf of Palestine Action. At the moment, it is predominantly media and police who are here. Have a look. I come to the Royal Courts of Justice often, and there is seldom any police outside here unless it's going to be some kind of big protest. So I think that they are absolutely thinking that there are going to be some issues here today. We shall see, but people are already gathering, which is fantastic to see. And let me just show you, there's lots of media cameras. There's some police vans parked down there and also down there as well. And we shall see how things develop today. Of course, as many of you know what this hearing is about, and for those who don't, let me inform you. So the issue is that the Home Secretary proscribed the campaign group Palestine Action this week. And proscribe means essentially to ban, that people are not allowed to join or support or promote that group. Vast majority of MPs voted it through, and then it went on to the Lords, and the Lords did the same. Of course, there are many questions about this. I did a 2-hour live investigation last week about the infiltration of the UK, of the British government, and of the media by the Zionist Israeli government. This is a fact. It can be evidenced, as indeed I did. And this is not conspiracy theory, but it is fact. And so the question is somebody compromised? And certainly we know that many people are. I think it's going to get interesting today. I really do. And that cop just came to check me out. And you know, I love being outside. I think outside broadcasts are really important in terms of journalism, and especially an event like today. And it is an event because here's the thing, is that you don't have to support Palestine Action. But first of all, be very, very clear that the idea that they are a terrorist group is highly debated. And in fact, the barrister who will be representing them today also represented a member of NECAP who was charged and appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court the other week. So I think it's going to get interesting. We shall see what takes place. I want to go to a quiet street because I'm going to be bringing in some guests. Hopefully I can start off with wonderful Warren Thornton, who regularly joins us on the show. Whoops, hold on a second. There you go. Let me just bring that back. My gimbal has decided to go a bit funky. Let's just see what I'm dealing with here. Might have to take it out and use it by hand. Doesn't matter. We do those things around here, right? Whatever it takes to get the show on the road is what we will do. Yeah, I think I will. Right. Let me go down to a side street. Just crossing over right now. Yeah, lady, this is a zebra crossing. Right. As you can see, police are parked up there. I think you can see them. And yeah, it's starting to fill up now outside the Royal Courts of Justice, which is absolutely great. Gentlemen, are you expecting a busy day today?
Yeah, no, not sure.
You're not sure?
Not sure yet, no.
Okay, all right, they're not sure. The police aren't sure whether they will be expecting a busy day today or not. I hope they realise that this is about freedom of speech. Oh, wait, I'm going down to a side street now. Police are parked down here as well, okay. Right, got you. In fact, here's Daly's, where I actually did, when I was part of TNT, I did a live, we did the live from there for the Julian Assange trial. Police are all the way down here. I'm just going to show you, bring you down this street, and hopefully I can talk to the stream for a few minutes before I go back up there. But I want to also bring in Warren Thornton as well. Warren Thornton has been doing some incredible work on this and what is taking place. Hopefully I can go and find a place to rest down there, and then I will go back to the Royal Courts of Justice around 10:30 and film outside there. That's when people have been told to arrive for protest on behalf of Palestine Action. And, you know, it's really simple, is I'm seeing people who claim to be truth tellers and they want this group banned. And that is really problematic because all they're going on a lot of the time is their own prejudice. And they're not realizing that old thing. First they came for, right, as somebody tweeted me this morning, first they came for Palestine Action, right. Soon we won't be able to campaign. Soon we won't be able to hold power to account or speak truth to power, because bit by bit we are living under what appears to be the most totalitarian, draconian government in a long period of time. And it's hardly surprising because this is the child of Tony Blair, and Tony Blair has wanted to track and trace us for as long as humanly possible. Oh, look, I think I can find a seat here. That would be very useful. And I can just check in with the live stream, see how you're all doing. Right. How are you all doing? I'm going to take this off my gimbal because I think I'll be able to stream better without it. And let me just check how you are in the live stream, whether you can all hear me. Can you all hear me? Let me just check. You know, this whole idea of oh, there's a difference between protesting and breaking into military bases. There is a long history of protest groups doing just that. In fact, Sir Keir Starmer, when he was a human rights barrister, actually defended people breaking into RAF Fairford. And what's that? Oh, I see. Sorry. Yes, yes. But maybe also close your window because you don't own the street. I've just literally had this woman, presumably she's a barrister, saying, I'm just doing a hearing. And the judge can hear me. She's shouting, look at that. Really bad. Look at that. Look at that. Let's see, this is what we have to deal with as journalists, people who try and move you on, try and get you not to be saying things. Isn't that extraordinary? Anyway, I've moved away enough. She should be fine now. Or perhaps she feels she owns the whole street. I mean, she's literally in a building doing a hearing and expecting people not to be around. It's a lovely day. Yes, this issue is bringing out nasty Zionists along with those fooled by Zionist and propaganda. Yes, they are. Yes, it is indeed. Hello all. Hello all. Hope you're all right. Hi, Charlotte. Hi all. Hope you're all well. Loud and clear. Wonderful. Wonderful. I did purchase some new equipment to hopefully be able to live stream better on our outside broadcast because it's such an important element, isn't it? I've never had a situation where somebody has shouted from inside a building, can you not be doing that here? The judge can hear you. What? I'm not even by the court. I've come down a side street, Essex Street to be precise. The court is right at the top there. And I presume that she's a barrister or whatever, and she's doing a Teams hearing. But the idea that she right up there can hear me is extraordinary, unless she had her ear to the window. Anyway, I've moved away because my aim is not to antagonize anyone. Absolutely not. My aim is to cover what is taking place today and see where it takes us. Now, I think my first guest has arrived, so I'm going to bring him in. Here he is. Oh, yes, I am bringing him in. Let's do this. I wonder if that brings him in. Oops, hold on. I'm just trying to bring him in again. Where's he gone? Where's he gone? I think we went off momentarily there. Let me just see if I can bring in Warren. I'm trying to bring him in. There, I think we'll be able to now. That should do it. Warren Thornton. Wonderful to have you with us, Warren. I'm outside the Royal Courts of Justice, although I'm now in a side street. I've just been told off by somebody because apparently a judge could hear me live streaming. So that's a great start, isn't it? Warren, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing absolutely fine. Well, you could just tell them to close the window. I mean, it's very, very straightforward. Most of the
Right,
the
right,
offices are air conditioned. They
right.
don't own they don't own the streets on you. You're free to talk whenever you want. Talk about
Absolutely.
that. There's your first fruit, and that shows how much they think of freedom of speech, doesn't it? There.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, the thing is, she was listening to me for a few minutes, so she knows where I'm coming from. So I would hazard a guess that she's probably on the opposite side of the table to me, which ain't no biggie. And, but Warren, I'm so glad you've joined us this morning. As always, geopolitical journalist, Warren Thornton at warrenthornton.com. Warren, you sent me an extraordinary series of spreadsheets yesterday. Would you like to explain what information was contained therein?
Yeah, absolutely. It is the funding of UK MPs by the Israel lobby, and it's not a small amount. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of people. There are Conservative Friends of Israel. There is a Labour Friends of Israel lobby group. There is a Liberal Democrats Friends of Israel, Northern Ireland Friends of Israel, European Friends of Israel. Then there is Elnet UK. There is also the Australian Israel Cultural Exchange have an office there. National Jewish Assembly, the Jewish National Fund, the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, which of course is AIPAC, American Israel Education, Israel Allies Foundation, the Henry Jackson Society, Elbit Systems, which many people will have heard of, which is a very invasive, shall we say, bunch of people. Then, of course, we've got Trevor Chin, who has made personal donations, David Meller, Trevor Pears, Michael Lewis, David Menton, Lord Stanley Calms, and of course, Red Capital. All of these people have given money to UK MPs, or they've gone on, shall we say, fact-finding missions through third parties to Israel, where, of course, they've been wined and dined.
And as Simon has just commented, boom. I mean, and that's what we're dealing with here, because it's not like we're not coming with evidence and facts. Both you and I absolutely are aware that there has been an infiltration into the British government, into the British media on behalf of the Israeli government and Zionism. And I think this week has been a phenomenal week, Warren. I see a new waking up. I've even got my very middle class neighbours who want to suddenly discuss Palestine with me, who never did before. So this has now gone into the mainstream narrative. Have you noticed a change this week, Warren, or is it just me?
No, I have noticed a change. I mean, people are beginning to see through the narrative and the nonsense that comes out there. I mean, when you get to the point where you are calling Piers Morgan a Palestine lover, something's gone horribly, horribly wrong, hasn't it? Because people are waking up all over the place. Of course, Piers Morgan will just change with the wind. But there is a groundswell of people who literally, after Iran and everything else that's gone on, have looked at this and gone, there is no way that they and I think the Glastonbury thing as well, Sonia, really did wake people up, because this is what I cannot understand: the furore in the mainstream media over this guy saying, what he did about the IDF.
Right.
But there are people that's somebody saying something, and whether you like it or not, whether it is wrong to say it, that fine. But what I'm saying is, there are people actually out there doing this, and they're doing it to children and to civilians in Gaza. Where's the outrage for that, I wonder?
Right, exactly. And he wasn't talking about a person or an individual. He was talking about what many people describe as military and terrorism. And I, for one, and I want to be very clear about this, is we have a lot of British males and females who go over and join the IDF. I do not think this is appropriate or acceptable. I believe that they are now working on behalf of a foreign power, and I think that they probably should be subject to the same rules that we subjected Shamima Begum to, actually. What are your thoughts about that? Is that too extreme?
No, I think you're absolutely right, because it's all invasive as well. And what you have to remember is the very first settlement was a place called Rishon LeZion, which is very much full of Ukrainians. And we have a lot of, that was a Ukrainian settlement. We have a lot of Ukrainians who are fighting over in Israel, and a lot of Israelis who are fighting under the German banner or whatever flag they're currently sitting under. And of course, they're going and fighting in Ukraine as well. And then we have a lot of people who say, Israel's our homeland and everything else. Well, why is suddenly the settlements in Cyprus gone up threefold? Why are there now 15,000 Israelis settling in Cyprus if they wanted to settle in Israel, which is supposedly their home, Sonia?
Right, exactly. And last week, or I think it was last week that we spoke to you last, and then all on the front pages was all to do with Israel and Iran rather, and US involvement and Donald Trump. I mean, it seems like a lifetime away now since all that happened. What's taking place from your perspective in the Middle East while we're out here arguing and fighting against proscription?
Well, the problem is that we have, of course, this Zionist entity that, and this, money cycle of, should we say, lots of money that goes round and round. It goes into America. America give it to Israel. They don't really give it to Israel. It never relieves the country. Then it comes back to the arms dealers. And then it comes back as campaign funds or bribes, whichever you like, to the Congress, of course. And this washing machine goes on and on and on. And this is not over. The Israelis are not happy. We managed to say within 12 hours that they hadn't done the damage to the nuclear facilities that they said they had. And everybody was calling it, saying you can't possibly know. Well, we did know because we knew the right people. But here's the thing. They haven't done the damage. The enriched uranium is out of the way. And now you have the craziness of Rafael Grossi, who is absolutely implicit in not only lining up scientists to be killed, but their families as well, saying that he needs access back in. If I was Iran, I'd let him in the country, then I'd arrest him and charge him with war crimes.
I mean, I just find it extraordinary times that we're living through. I mean, I think pretty sure we've had this conversation before, and that is for as long as I can remember, we've been bombarded with information about the Middle East endlessly in England and the UK, as if we don't have any issues ourselves to deal with. And in part, that is hugely to do with the tremendous power that Israel has long been able to sort of co-opt over the UK government. The show that I did last week showed that even right back to Harold Wilson and more, they were all part of Friends of Israel, for goodness sake. Warren, I think that that should not be allowed to happen, that a representative member who we've elected them, well, not me personally, but people have elected them, the electorate elected these people to represent us, and they cannot answer to two masters, can they?
No, I mean, you've got the likes on the Conservative side of Ian Duncan Smith, you've got James Cleverly, Liz Truss was also received money, shall we say, from these people. Most of as I say, the cabinet have received money from the Labour, from one form or another from Israel people. Michael Gove is another one who's received money. There are so many of these people who have taken cash, and it's not just them. Either on the Conservative side, you've got Bridget Phillipson, you've got Emily Thornberry, who's taken money, David Lammy, Rachel Reeves, all these people, West Streeting, they've all received money. So it is quite a thing. I mean, even Lee Anderson of Reform has had money. So it is, shall we say, just an infestation of various, and that's the money that you can prove. Let alone the river of dirty money that goes through various, shall we say, scholarships and various sitting on the board of various members and media companies and everything else. And of course, speaking engagements that they get money for as well.
And of course, we should say that they will say this money is not coming to me. It's to fit out my office. It's to support my staff and all of these amazing things. But again, we shouldn't be receiving money for our members of parliament to be promoting a foreign power, because that's what they clearly are. And Yvette Cooper, our Home Secretary, another one who is highly compromised in all this. And I referred before you came on, Warren, to the fact that previously, when Keir Starmer cared apparently about these things, he actually represented some people who had broken into RAF Fairford, but it's a completely different tune now. So our MP is also captured, and not our MP, our Prime Minister is also captured and occupied. It feels very oppressive, Warren. Do you see any light at the end of this particular tunnel?
I think I do in a way. And I mean, we mustn't forget that Trevor Chin also gave from, who is a massive Israel lobbyist, gave him 50,000 pounds of his own money into into the funds, as it were. And of course, Keir Starmer, who literally was the head of, shall we say, the Labour Friends of Israel, who ousted Jeremy Corbyn, Chris Williamson, and many others in the Labour Party. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, because you can see every single one of these MPs are compromised, and people are beginning to wake up and see that. It doesn't matter where you turn. The obvious thing, and we have to say this, the 5 million that literally Keir Starmer wanted to take off of the most vulnerable people, the 5 billion he wanted to take, the 5 billion he needed to get, was exactly the same money that he wanted to give to Ukraine. And yet not one person from Conservative or Reform stood up and made that analogy and said, look, why are you giving 5 billion to Ukraine, and yet you're trying to take 5 billion off the most needy? Not one MP stood up. So that just goes to show how compromised and how on board they all are.
And we've obviously talked about the uni party itself, Labour and Conservatives, how they're all up to their eyeballs in it. And what I also discovered was Reform as one example. They may not yet have a Friends of Israel chapter, but they're already out there batting. And then, of course, there is Rupert Lowe, who set himself up as this really independent MP who's defending the rights of people. And he voted for the proscription of Palestine Action. What do we make of Rupert Lowe?
Yeah, it's another one of those. You don't become popular. Let's not forget that over 84 of the CEOs that look after the mainstream, so most of your TV channels, your Google and everything else, most of those are part of the Zionist lobby, or the Jewish lobby, if you like. I like to call them Zionists, because Jewish people have nothing to do with Zionism.
Exactly. And I think that's an important distinction. And it's also been recognised, because this week, when people, because of the report that I made last week, I've obviously had, I've been trolled and I've been abused, and people claiming I'm anti-Semitic. But actually, no, that's not true. And it's not accurate. And not only is it not true and not accurate, but to claim that if you oppose the Israeli government and Zionism is anti-Semitism is actually recognised as anti-Semitism itself, because you shouldn't be conflating Jews with Zionism. No, you shouldn't. So thank you for making that correction, because they want to get us any way they can, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And for all these people who use the term anti-Semite, Semite means a group of languages. It's got nothing to do with Jewish people at all. Arabs are Semites. So how are you anti-Semite if you are against Zionists? It's an absolutely stupid and idiotic argument that these people use. And the other thing that is really, really important to remember here, when it comes to the Zionist lobby and everything else that is going on, they are losing friends in the global south like you wouldn't believe. Right. There is not one person that I've bumped into when I've been speaking to various embassies over the last couple of weeks that is supporting Israel in any way, shape or form. So, of course, this is just Israel are being used by America in this simple, shall we say, scenario to try and weaken Iran, so it weakens China and Russia. But the other thing that must remember, all this time the 12-day war was going on, they never for once stopped killing people in Gaza.
Right. I mean, exactly. We hear it every day, don't we? I find it extraordinary. Some of the people who are like either willfully blind to what is taking place or they're bored. It's difficult to tell online. I'm certain that there will be a huge volume of people online who are paid to troll and put out misinformation. We know that. We also know that the Israeli government has been essentially buying up influencers, paying them, having meetings with them. I think this is extraordinary stuff. And what I love it, and you've already alluded to it, is we are living through this incredible time where everything is so transparent. We're able to see it. When I first started as a journalist, you had to dig super, super deep to find any information. Whereas here, it's all in front of your face. They're not hiding it. And this, I think, is what is finally playing against them, because the evidence is there for everybody to see. So Israel are losing the PR war, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely, they are. And also, we managed to reveal through our good friend Kit Clarenberg that the MI6 is actually infiltrated by Mossad, and MI6 were the ones, along with Mossad, who talked everybody or talk grossly, and the IAEA, they actually infiltrated the IAEA and were able to sway Grossi to make an ambiguous report that they could use then to bomb Iran. So you're absolutely right. This is all playing out, and there's no hiding place anymore because of the internet, people can talk to each other. And this is why free speech is under so much of an attack.
You just mentioned MI6. Of course, they have a new boss. Do you think anything is going to change there as a consequence?
Not really, no. I mean, her father was died in the war Ukrainian, and her
Right.
grandfather was a raging Nazi. He actually sent people to Riga concentration camp and actually executed Jewish people himself. So you can see this doesn't have anything to do with Jews. This has to do with Zionism. This has to do with control. And of course, it is a satellite state that the West need in the Middle East. And that's all it is. And we will never, ever let control of that go. And also we had, while we were talking, the Americans, the Ukrainians were begging the Americans for these Patriot missile systems. And America said, well, we need to keep them because we're short ourselves. And then they went and delivered 4 of these Patriot systems to Israel in the last couple of days.
My deep concern is what's happening here is what's already happening in the US, and that is as soon as I mean, there's that meme, isn't there, that's going around, and that is where there's an image of Pam Bondi, the Attorney General in the US, and they're saying, what about the Epstein list? She said, I can't do that, but the best I can do is deport anybody who criticizes Israel. Now, that would be funny if it wasn't actually true. I suppose some of the best comedy is true, and that's what they're doing in America. They are deporting people who are criticizing Israel, and my concern is they will attempt to do that in the UK. Do you think, I mean, this feels today very totalitarian, that they are having to fight about a campaign group? This is not a terrorist group, it's a campaign group. Your thoughts, Warren?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, we had that thing, didn't we, where we had MI6 and special branch, if you remember, over Greenham Common, when people were breaking into Greenham Common. And of course, they used people to infiltrate the Greenham Common ladies. They did more than infiltrate them. They impregnated some of them. And of course, that caused a huge scandal. And you are absolutely right. What we're seeing here is an oppression of free speech. Literally, what we are seeing now is where everybody is hiding, where these Zionists are hiding, and how they're trying to control everything and everything else. And channels like yourself are starting to expose it. And people are falling on their swords. People like Douglas Murray, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, suddenly from being super popular, are collapsing through the floor. And of course, they became popular because the Israeli infiltrated media, mainstream media, or even the alternative media made them super popular.
Talking about Douglas Murray, he, of course, is a director of the so-called Free Speech Union, which I call Free Speech Zionism. And I noted that he had an article in the Daily Mail yesterday where he was essentially saying that what took place at Glastonbury with Bob Villan is going to create the same kind of conditions in the UK that happened on October the 7th. What do you think about that?
Well, he's a committed Zionist. This is a guy, remember, who literally went to, remember the Hamas leader who was killed sitting in an armchair by a drone. He actually went and sat in that chair when he was on a visit to Israel. So talk about a ghoul. Quite incredible, and had a picture taken sitting in that chair. So what we're talking about here is a guy who is utterly discredited after his Joe Rogan, have you been sort of thing that he did there. And of course, Douglas Murray's never been to Iran or North Korea, but he's got plenty to say about it.
Right.
And of course, you know, this guy, it's never going to be anything like this on October the 7th. What you might get, it's
a pretty damning thing to suggest as well, isn't it? It's almost provocative in its own way. And I think this is the other thing that people often miss. We're just going back now to the Royal Courts of Justice because we were in a side street. But I think this is often what people miss, is that the Zionist side actually say the most heinous things. And this whole idea that we should somehow protect the IDF put the most disgusting videos online. You only have to go to TikTok. There's genocide TikTok, right? Which actually shows the most horrendous things that are being carried out and committed. So the other side are constantly going on about how they are the victims, they need protecting, but they're the ones who are fighting to cancel people. Bob Villan is a perfect example. And as they say, like Kneecap said, it's not about the band. It's not even about Glastonbury. It's about Gaza. It's about
Yeah.
genocide. So the other side, in my opinion, are actually extremely dangerous because not only do they have the money, but they have the state working in their favour.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got the politicians.
Did you hear that,
who
Warren?
come out- Yes, I did. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, he's gone
I
off.
can hear you. No, I can
Hello?
hear you. I'm right here.
I
I'm
can't
right here.
hear him.
I'm right here, Sonia, if you
Hello?
can hear me. Yes,
Suddenly gone.
right here.
See you later.
I'm right here.
See you
I'm right.
later.
I'm right
Hello?
here. Yeah, you can hear me, Sonia. Can
Can't
you hear
hear
me?
him. Hello, Warren.
Yeah. Yes, I'm still here. I am still here.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Lovely.
Yes, perfectly.
yeah,
Yes, I'm just talking about how violent and aggressive the so-called victims are.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you've got the actual state that comes out and says that basically this should be that somebody's going to turn out to be Hamas. You've had people actually turn around and say that we've not seen any evidence of children dying. Well, really, the Israeli ambassador has come out and said that, of course, this is perfectly okay, and it's not okay. These people are terrorists. These people belong in the High Court rather than why you're there today. If he wanted to proscribe something, Israel, the Israel lobbies, all of them in the Houses of Parliament, should be proscribed as a terrorist organization.
Oh, couldn't agree more. Now, when I left outside the Royal Courts of Justice, it was quite empty. It was just full of media and cops, actually. And now you can see people are gathering here. I think it's going to get very busy here today. I think this is going to get very interesting. These people are not here for violence. They are here to secure our civil rights. And we're not living in these other countries that our MPs like to talk about, be it North Korea or Russia, according to them. We're living in England. This is the UK. We are supposed to have exemplary human rights, freedom of speech and freedom to assemble. Now, Keir Starmer just celebrated his first year as Prime Minister. Give me an overview of how you think he's done in terms of our free speech and freedom to assemble in that first year.
Well, first of all, he's tried everything to stop free speech because he doesn't like anybody criticising him. He's a dead man walking. Very simply, he had 49 MPs, even though the bill was gutted. He had 49 MPs that voted against him. And the other thing that's happened as well here is very simply, come April, there's nobody really to take over from him because David Lammy, Angela Rayner are absolutely
What's
useless.
that? Simply come April.
Yeah, come April, when, of course, the court case comes up about the Ukrainian male models, and also we'll have the elections, the local elections in May. So by May, this guy's a dead duck at least. Up until May, he may survive, but I doubt he'll survive even that long. Once you throw your Chancellor of the Exchequer under the bus, you're finished as a Prime Minister.
And tell us how he did that.
Very, very simply, when he was asked the question whether his or not his finance minister, which is the Chancellor of the Exchequer, would remain in her job till the next election, he didn't answer at all. And then, of course, we saw her crack up, and he didn't even notice that she was visibly upset or console her in any way. He avoided the question, and of course, Kemi Badenoch then turned around and said how terrible that he couldn't even back his own Chancellor, but she was visibly upset. And of course, he didn't even notice. But then again, this is politics. Politics is expediency. Don't expect ever any loyalty.
I find it extraordinary just talking about that situation with Rachel Reeves. It's extraordinary. This is a woman who she was put in place not because of her CV, as we know, because her CV has been somewhat distorted, shall we say. She was put in place because even from 10 years ago, the government knew she was hard-faced and she was capable of carrying out harsh measures against vulnerable people and not batting a sodding eyelid about it. They knew that about her, and that's why she got the role of Chancellor, because she could carry out stuff without even looking back. And now suddenly we're expected to show great compassion for her, and the people that who are online, Warren, I don't know about you, but the people online, the journalists and MPs who had us locked down and subject to experimental jabs are out there weeping and wailing for her. Oh, I know what it's like. I once cried through a live broadcast, says Sheila Fogarty, who wanted to poison her workmates' coffee if they were refusing the jab, right? So these people have selective compassion, don't they? What do you think was going on with Rachel Reeves when she was crying? Because also, can I just say, she came back with a different face yesterday for the launch of the NHS app. That looked like a different woman to me. But why do you think she was crying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody said it was for a personal issue. It wasn't. She refused. She's had tremendous hammer, slightly different from Angela Rayner's, but she's had tremendous stick. And of course, when you don't in what is a bear pit, when you don't back your chancellor, of course, then you are in all sorts of trouble. And of course, she fell apart, but she's not suited to the role. She can't add up. She's meant to crunch the numbers, and she quite clearly can't, should we say, do anything with the economy, because we are in free fall in the economy. She can't make the numbers add up. Nobody actually could. And of course, they need to find money from somewhere, as we're plunging further and further in deficit, as we're paying 6 times more than we should for our natural gas.
It's absolutely insane, right? It's properly filling up outside here now. I recognise loads of people that I used to work with in broadcasting. And what else do we have? Police are just gathering in the numbers. We have End Hate, Feed Gaza. Absolutely. I'm on a live stream. Would you like to say hello to our viewers and geopolitical journalist Warren Thornton, who's...
We're all here today for a peaceful protest to remind people that we absolutely have the right to do that. And whatever the courts may decide, silence is starvation.
It certainly is, and complicity as well, isn't it? Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And this is what we need, you know. I absolutely love it. Warren, did I mention to you that the person who's representing their appeal, their challenge today, is the same barrister who represented Kneecap? So what they're doing, which is fantastic, is they're finding the right people for the job, aren't they? Because I don't know if you've ever had to deal with the High Court or anything like that, but finding the right solicitor and finding the right barrister can be like finding the right counsellor. It's not always that simple, but it seems like that they have the right person doing the job here. Warren, before you leave us today, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, but first of all, I'd like to say to you, do stay safe, just in case they do try a false flag with a few outside agitators, because I wouldn't put that past them at all. But do keep an eye out for Rafael Grossi is now being used as the battering ram for them to go back in and have another go at Iran. And just to let you know very quickly, before you go, I crunched some numbers the other day. If you took the German and the UK and the French, literally their armies, and you threw them into Ukraine at the current losses, in 131 days' time, none of those armies would exist. So expect a massive collapse on the Ukrainian front line over the next couple of weeks.
Wow. Listen, when I'm back into my studio, I will be joining you again. Warren, you're an absolute gem. You know, as soon as I knew I was coming out here, I was like, I need Warren on with me. And we've managed to achieve that, which is absolutely fantastic. Everybody, Warren Thornton, is your show tonight at 7 p.m?
6 p.m, yeah. 6 p.m. at warrenthornton.com.
Please check it out, people. This is Warren Thornton, geopolitical journalist. His finger on every button in all the right ways. Take care, Warren. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Take care. Stay safe, Sonia.
Thank you, darling. Cheers, mate. Wonderful. Wonderful. Bye-bye. Right. I think you have to take yourself out on this one today, Warren.
No problem at all. I'm all over it.
There you go. Of course you are. Just like journalism. There he is. There he goes. Right. Oops. Has that gone? There it is. Okay. As you can hear now, everybody is starting to properly gather. Let's get over there. Now, you might not always be able to hear me, and I will stop talking so you can also hear what is taking place. Brilliant sign here. Let me just
Sorry.
Just sorting out the mics, guys.
Getting very hot here. I can see somebody on the other side there who's taking. I'm going to go and check out who that guy is because he was very intense.
Please, we want you to tell me how.
So that's two men filming me. Now that could just be because they recognise me, but one of them is a professional photographer, and so I turned the camera on him. I'm live streaming. I'm live streaming. Live streaming. Right, let me get through here. Oh, God. I'm just moving back from it because obviously very loud. Right, more police are gathering. I think they are expecting something to kick off. Oh, here we go. There's another lot just arrived. See behind me. And I take Warren's point. You have to be careful in situations like this. But I am not only a seasoned journalist, but a seasoned protester as well, which is why I find it so egregious what is taking place. And I think this is going to be so interesting what is decided today. I genuinely do. So we shall see. Let's have a look at some of your comments. I know we've got what's going on here. Well, Martin, the thing about journalism, and it's really important, is once you've done enough research, you naturally should take a side. And I take a side against genocide. So I think it's very simple, very straightforward. I realized a long time ago that I'm a natural activist, but journalism was the arena for me because I wanted to be able to use evidence and fact, not factions, fact. And I wanted to be able to do that because I thought that was so important. And then the thing with any good story, and when I say good story, a story with legs that actually matters to people, that matters to society, is that sooner or later you realize there are sides and there's dark and light here. So anybody in the comments telling me to stop taking sides is probably not on the same side that I'm on. And I'm on the side of truth, and I'm on the side of light, and I'm on the side of people not being ethnically cleansed from their homes. Is that clear enough for you? Good. I hope it is. I hope it is. Right. Let's see. Aurora says charity begins at home. Now, this is where it gets silly because we are impacted by what's taking place in the Middle East. Until we stop that, or until we stop our involvement with it, we are involved. It's that simple. We are financing, we are receiving money, so we are implicated. Not you and I, but our government is implicated. So this very much involves us. And anybody who doesn't think it does is not looking at the big picture. I mean, it's simply not looking at the big picture. Now, there is also another element to this that we would be silly to ignore, and that is there is a racist element to it. There are racists who are all over supporting Israel because of the people, and they are not all over supporting Palestine because of the way the people look, right? And it can be broken down into several categories, but I'm only on the side of truth. And as it goes, the side of truth today is for that group to be able to block the challenge of them being prescribed. It's very simple stuff. And anybody who only wants me to look at periphery stuff, surface stuff, is not on the side of truth. I'm looking at the big picture. I've always taken government to task, whatever side of the fence they are on. Somebody tweeted yesterday a video that I made 13, 14 years ago about the attack on the welfare state. And that was at the hands of David Cameron's government. Well, equally, I will go after the Labour government. I will go after Lib Dems. I will go after Greens. I will go after any group that is involved in the oppression of people. I will. And if you don't think what is happening today, involves us in England, then I've got a bridge to sell you. This absolutely does involve us. First today, Palestine Action. Tomorrow, it will probably be a group that you support. And you will have enabled this if you're not standing up to be counted right now. Simple stuff. I mean, this is very simple stuff. The comments aren't showing for me, which is more's the pity. Yeah, and I don't know what's happened to them. Right. Let me just see. Let me see if I can get somebody who wants to have a little talk.
And I think these guys have got their bang bang.
Ooh, right. It's difficult to know who's who because there are people there will always be. See, let me tell you a little bit about my history. My history in terms of campaigning and activism. There are always people who get involved in groups, who are obviously not on the side of the group. They're infiltrators. It's been going on for a very long time. You only have to look at what happened with Spy Cops. And with Spy Cops, they went so far, obviously, as to create these fake personal lives. And at least one that we know of, if not more, had a child with one of these activists and campaigners. That's the side I'm on. I'm on the side of people who seek justice against the state. The state is oppressive. And if you cannot see that today is part of that oppression, I don't know what to tell you. And maybe I'm not the right person for you, because let me tell you this. I'm not going to change. I'm absolutely not going to change. I've always fought for the underdog and I will continue to do so. And it's that simple. It's really that simple. I wish I could see these comments. Let me just see if I can see the comments. No, it's not showing me the comments. Let's try that again. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Appreciate that. No, that's weird. It's showing on the screen. I can't do that because there could be some defamatory comments, and I'm not going to be involved in publishing defamatory comments. So just so you know that. Right. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking around the periphery here. You know, it's gone 10:30. They're inside now. They will be waiting to see. I don't even know the judge, actually. It was funny because I looked on the court listings and couldn't find it. And what happens is the day before the court hearing is they publish it, and they've slightly changed it. It used to be published by the Royal Courts of Justice, and now it's published by government. But last night when I looked to see who was sitting and who was hearing this, couldn't find it, which was kind of peculiar. But it is an emergency hearing. And obviously the High Court felt that it warranted an emergency hearing. And that is because the British government have rushed this through, and they rushed this through. And if you look at the two other groups that they rushed it through with, they did that on the basis that they knew that it would catch MPs in a bind. And you've had people like Zara Sultana, who has now left the Labour Party and said that her and Jeremy Corbyn are going to be forming their own group. I mean, I don't care. I wouldn't vote for them any more than I'd vote for Ben Habib or Rupert Lowe. And none of these people represent me. And I've yet to find a politician in 2025 who represents me and what I stand for. And I want basic stuff. I want us not to be paying hand over fist for our living. I want one job to be enough for anybody. Nobody should be doing 2-3 jobs in order to be able to survive. Our government have failed us while arming a foreign state. This is the reality. And again, if that doesn't involve you as a English person, as a Brit, then I don't know what does. It definitely involves me. I'm a taxpayer. My taxpayer money. Maybe you're not a taxpayer. Maybe you're not paying tax. But I'm a taxpayer, and my money is being used to arm and weaponize Israel. And that is not acceptable to me, not at all. And again, I say, if that doesn't involve the UK, then what does, if our money is being used in that way, which it clearly is. It's interesting because they've got the police all the way back here. Very interesting. Let me just check this out. I don't know what the time is. And I don't know how long the hearing would last for. I would imagine it would be quite a short hearing. And I think that's why all the media have taken up down there, and they are waiting to find out the results from the hearing. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that very much. Right. I'm only trying to keep back because I know it's very difficult for you to hear there while people are chanting. And I think this has been an incredible week where we've discovered that chanting is more egregious to bloodthirsty people than the actual wholesale murder and death of people. So as soon as anybody this week has made a big deal about what happened at Glastonbury, I just kind of, I have their number. I know who they are. And there's been a lot of fake truth tellers over the last 5 years. There's been an infiltration, because what happened was a lot of people realised during C19 that there was money to be made by an alternative market, and they leapt in, people who wouldn't normally be on the side of truth. And then you discover that they're not, that they're very much part and parcel of this. They infiltrated. I don't actually think there is a truth movement as such. I think that there are truth tellers, and they are increasingly few and far between. And so there has been an infiltration, not just in government and media, but in activism as well. And we should all be concerned about that. We really should. So I'm still attempting to see if I can read some of the comments, but it's very difficult for me to see here. Let's have a look, see if it was showing me them earlier. Let me try it this way round. No, it's fine. As long as you can still hear me, it doesn't matter. And as you can see, we have one mod on today. I asked Synchronized Soul if she would be modding for us today, because I'm absolutely aware that when I do these outside broadcasts, some people think this is their opportunity to troll and abuse. Well, let me tell you, it ain't. And if you are there trolling and abusing, or if you're being racist, or if you're being anti-Semitic, you will be ejected. So suck it up, Buttercup. Right, let's see if they've... Oh, whoa, what's happened? What's happened? What's happened? What's happened, guys? Let's find out what they were just cheering about. What were they just cheering about? Do you know?
Yeah, this is to make sure that Palestine Action isn't prescribed as a terrorist.
Oh, okay, because I was wondering whether they'd got some results yet from the hearing.
No, just a speaker.
Right. Okay. Well, it's getting lively here today. So look, I'm going to stop talking for a while because you probably won't hear me. And I just want you to be able to see the live action. And Synchronized Soul, just a shout out to you. If there is anybody on this stream, because I can't see the comments, but if there's anybody on this stream who is being deliberately antagonistic, boot them. Boot them out. We don't need them. We don't want them. This is a live stream to show you what is going on today, but it's not for people to infiltrate and try and cause problems or issues within that live stream. The whole point about Wake Up is the live stream is like a community setting, and we don't need people who are there purely to create problems. And Synchronized Soul, you have absolutely my backing to boot the hell out anybody who is creating unnecessary problems in that live chat. And I'm not talking about anybody specific because I literally cannot see the comments at this moment in time. Good morning. I'm on a live stream. Would you like to talk? Oh, no, okay. Right. Let's see what's going on. The International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network. Look at this. Brilliant. Really important. Hello.
Hi.
I'm on a live stream. I won't put you on without your permission.
Not sure. Absolutely.
You up for it? I'd like to know why you're here today.
My name is Sam Weinstein. I'm from the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network. We're in Argentina, the United States, Canada, the UK, France, Spain, and Germany. So we're really international. And one of the things that I've noticed, you know, I was a draft dodger from the Vietnam War, and that was a huge movement, a really huge movement. And at the end of it, the Vietnamese defeated the might of the American state. But this movement is even bigger, and we're going to win. And so we're here to support Palestine Action, because they can make us not say the name. They can make us not join Palestine Action. but they cannot stop the idea of Palestine action and action by all of us on behalf of Palestine.
Absolutely. And what's even more important, I feel, about you is what they try and do is they want to conflate Zionism and Judaism. And not only is that anti-Semitic in its own right,
Absolutely.
but it distracts us, doesn't it? Because it makes people go, I don't want to be seen as anti-Semitic. And it's a distraction tactic, isn't it?
And that's one of the reasons that we try to be as many demonstrations as we possibly can, because we want to make sure that everybody understands there is a Jewish tradition of struggle against oppression, and we stand in the footsteps of Marak Edelman, one of the leaders of the Warsaw Ghetto, when he said to be a Jew is to be on the side of the oppressed, never the oppressor. And that's the tradition. That's the tradition of a whole series of social justice activists, Jewish social justice activists, including my grandfather, who formed a trade union in New York, a Polish truck driver who went to the United States and formed a trade union in the United States, right, in New York. And my mother, Selma James, now at 95, comes to all the demonstrations, the pro-Palestinian demonstrations. And she has fought all her life for money for women. And this movement is way too big to lose. We are going to win. And part of the reason that they are taking on Palestine Action and the oppression that we are having to deal with is because of the size of this movement and the terror of this movement.
Well said. Very, very well said. It's because Palestine Action represent a real challenge. That is the issue, isn't it?
Palestine Action and all the rest of the movement, they have to shut down. It's like whack-a-mole. They have to keep on banging us on the head wherever we show up. But we are going to keep on showing up.
Wonderful to talk to you. Wonderful to talk to you. Take good care of yourself. I hope you caught all that. Again, really important. An American Jew who finds it absolutely vital he's here to protest against the dangers of Zionism. And I agree with him, absolutely. They wouldn't be bothered with Palestine Action if Palestine Action wasn't representing a real challenge. Let me just come back from here, see if there's anybody else who looks good to be able to talk right now. I don't know what the time is, so let me see if I can find out. Excuse me, do you know what time it is, please?
Sorry?
Do you know what time it is?
It's
11.
11.
Thank you so much. Right, I shouldn't imagine that it's going to take much longer. I'd be really surprised if a hearing would take much more than an hour to do with this, because I think it's fairly straightforward. And that is, can they get an interim order to block this? It's very lively out here. Very lively. Let me show you some. Something kicking off in front of me here.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Two men nearly kicked off. A couple of cops were watching them, leapt in the middle. They just told one guy to get out of here. I don't know what that's about. No idea. Woo! the resistance. You're the person. We and to end it.
Then you know where it is.
Shame. China. And it is single is distance and proscription. It's the soft end of the state's 35 to every view. Sometimes all they need is a and suddenly your community center is gone. And your words are criminalized. Your content is surveilled. Your funds are frozen. And your movement is outlawed. So let me be clear. Let me be clear. Action is not about security. It is about erasing resistance. It's the legal camouflage genocide, and we have to. We must resist. The war on terror was never about terrorism. It was something far bigger. It was redefining resistance as criminal, turning action into extremism, and creating a world where the colonial empire could kill without consequence, where thoughts are policed, every drone strike in Afghanistan, every black side and rendition flight. Don't think that happened in a vacuum. It was built right here, brick by brick and law by law. And our people, they experimented for years under the guise of national security, and now they've released the full-blown genocide on the Palestinian people, and if we do not challenge the machinery of the war on terror, if we do not dismantle the logic of proscription, we are not just failing Palestine, where every Muslim we are funding the next genocide. Help you. No, okay. There's something kicking off. Now is the only time. This might be the last time we will say these words before they try to ban Palestine actions. Listen to her speakers. He's like, listen. Absolutely. I said, I'm getting in there. Okay, so he's kicking off.
Off the streets.
Woo! Who was that?
Give me 1 second, please. Zionists want to disrupt our march. If you follow them with your cameras, they achieve their goal.
Right.
The police is removing them from the crowd. There is no need to follow them and disrupt our speakers and what we are here to do. The Please, make your way. We are going to continue with our speeches. We are going to
Let me explain to you what just happened. Wow, it's Matt. How are you, Matt?
How are you?
Good to see you.
Wow,
I'm
great.
live streaming.
Awesome.
Say hello.
We meet again. It was Assange, and now it's the same site.
Same flat fight.
The same people are here. I've just been running into all the old Assange activists. I always come to it's the only place they come to in London. Royal Courts of Justice.
That's right. It's lovely to see you
And
again.
I support stopping
Yes,
genocide.
you do. Of course you do.
Wonderful
I
to see you.
expect any less from you. Wonderful to see you too.
Bless you. Bless you.
Right,
Peace to everybody.
let me explain to you what just happened. Okay, oh, hold on.
Police protect genocide.
Right, so what's interesting now? Very interesting. And you have to be careful because you don't know whether people have been paid to infiltrate and cause problems, almost certainly. So what you have is a small group of protesting Zionists who came right through the crowd, were protected by the police and are still being protected by the police. And to a degree, they have to be. Actually, I'm not talking about protecting Zionists. I'm saying that they're in a situation where things could get very nasty. But that is a deliberately provocative move to walk through like that, and they know it 100%. Now, the police, what is going on over there? You're going to want to see this. Look at this. Check this out. Sorry. Extraordinary. This amount of police are stood around 2 or 3 campaigners only. Look at this. This is police protection. This is state protection. So that poster says there is no genocide in Gaza, and the Metropolitan Police are now protecting the 2 men.
We picked a very bad time, sir. Don't mind. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it really yeah. You're welcome.
Let's just do a head count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 police protecting 2 men who have come here with their signs saying there is no genocide. That's my money.
I think they're doing this. What we do now.
And what the police are being rotated. They're being commanded to be rotated. And look at this. There is no clearer a sign of what is going on here than 2 people who are opposing the idea that there is a genocide being protected by the Metropolitan Police. That is a clear sign of what side the state is on. A clear sign. I'm live streaming. Let me look at your site. I was just saying to my audience, there's no clearer sign of what's taking place than 2 men who have come to cause trouble being protected by these police. Absolutely. It's problematic, isn't it? This is a clear sign of what we're dealing with. You're already in a cage. That's your I'm going to go and check out the other side because there's more senior cops on the other side and I want to see what commands they're making.
I know, but I'm right here. It's after the corner, I know. After the corner. I get you, but we've got protection, okay? I say, this is the survey that. If I say that, what you do?
Again, there is no clearer sign today than how the state is protecting Israel and Zionism by this sheer volume of police officers protecting two men and a sign. That is troubling. And I don't think there's anybody here who'd necessarily, I mean, I don't know. I don't know this crowd. This is not a crowd that I've protested with before, but I don't think that there would be an issue. Why these men have to be protected like this is fairly outrageous and wrong. See if I can get a comment on this. I know the police have to do their job, but sometimes it's a shitey job to do.
It's not a protesting. I know
I'm live streaming. You want to say a word to a camera?
I can say something if you like.
I would love you to say something.
Drowning out the speaker though, won't I?
Let's go over here a little bit. I'd really appreciate that a lot. Thank you. I was actually just speaking to another gentleman. I don't know if he's from the same organisation as Jews.
Something of it. Is that you still? Is that you?
I'm still live streaming. Yes, don't say anything that's going to get yourself in. Don't worry about that. This is an interesting scenario here. Are you aware of what's taking place? Okay. Well, so it's two men who brought up saying there's no genocide taking place in Gaza. And so the police are protecting them. I talked to another gentleman. I'm not sure if it's from the same organisation. I think it's Jews Against Anti-Zionism. There's a different.
You mean there's a Jews Against Zionism? There's
Yeah,
a Jews
that's it.
Anti-Zionist network.
Yeah.
I do I do associate with them. I'm a long-term secretary of Jews for Justice of Palestinians, and I did start a group called Jews for Boycotting Israeli Goods. Which exists more in name and banner only because a lot of the members started Jewish Voice for Labour, and I joined the Green Party. But it's I like the slogan. So
I think it's so important that you're here because, as I was saying to the other gentleman, there is this horrible conflation now between Zionism and Judaism, which in itself is anti-Semitic. It really is. And so I think it's wonderful that we have your voices here because it's a lot harder for people to say, well, they've got a dog in the race. So why is this important to you?
Oh, well, lots of reasons. I mean, the stuff about being Jewish, it's the government's agenda to use Jews as cover for genocide. The government and the BBC, the media, I've been campaigning since 2002, so it certainly didn't start in October the 7th. And I've got friends who've been campaigning since 1967, when Israel illegally occupied the West Bank and Gaza. I don't know if there are many people left who have been campaigning since 1948, including children. But no, the government and media do their best to hide it. I mean, Keir Starmer's Labour Party has actually expelled several Jews. Jewish Voice for Labour, which was set up to support Jeremy Corbyn and as a non-Zionist group, Keir Starmer signed a pledge at the Board of Deputies of British Jews not to meet them. And they tried to meet him, and I think either he refused or he ignored them. And several of their committee have been expelled. So obviously he doesn't want the Jews there, which give the lie to this notion that there was a significant problem with anti-Semitism in the Labour Party.
Right.
So no, as I said, it completely goes against their agenda. They willfully conflate Judaism with Zionism. And how dare they say that saying death to the IDF is anti-Semitic? Because that implies that the IDF speaks for all Jews. And it was, I won't go into all that now, the protests.
No, but it's really important what you're saying. I think this has been a key week, with the whole Glastonbury situation.
Yes.
Speaking into the mainstream, I was talking to one of my guests earlier about how even my very middle-class neighbours now are saying, do you know what's going on in the Middle East? And it's like, it's all making it mainstream now. And that is obviously a problem, isn't it?
It's a big the real thing, because at the moment, you know, so far activists have been a bit of a fringe. It's just been, you know, a few people who know what's going on, lots of Muslims, actually quite a lot of Jews. But now you've got all of Glastonbury supporting Palestine. That's what they're really worried about. But, I mean, aside from being Jewish, the reason I'm here is to protest against the proscription of Palestine Action. And it's obvious that the government are doing this because they want to hide their own complicity. It's again, it goes against their interests. Obviously, it's a big business. The arms trade is big business. There's oil off the coast of Gaza. They like to have Israel as a strategic friend to the Middle East to guard the oil. They share intelligence of Israel. They want to keep Israel as a threat. So they don't like action against Israel. And actually, I was up late last night watching the House of Lords debate this, and none of them mentioned a key issue. I missed the beginning of the debate, but they were saying, oh, there's lots of legitimate ways of protesting. You can march, you can lobby. Yeah. Where has that got us? We've been marching since October 23. I was marching before then. We've been writing to our MPs saying, oh, this is terrible what's happening, but they are not doing anything. The thing about Palestine Action is they're actually trying to do something, right? They are trying to prevent state terrorism and genocide. So they're basically being called terrorists for trying to prevent state terrorism and genocide. I don't like it.
Well, and you know, it's really interesting because as a journalist, I made a 2-hour investigation last week, which is about infiltration of British politicians via lobbying groups like Friends of Israel, as one example. And it's impossible for them to answer two masters. They cannot answer the British electorate and Friends of Israel, all those lobby groups. And so I actually believe, and I talked about this, because I do believe we are to a degree still allowed opinion in this country, although they're looking to have an opinion. Well, absolutely. But Yvette Cooper and almost the entire Labour cabinet are up to their eyeballs in relationships with the Israeli lobby groups. It's problematic, isn't it?
Well, they're all being paid up. And actually, one interesting is the one cabinet member who is not a Labour Friends of Israel, is actually Jewish. And that's Ed Miliband. And I used to know his mother because she's a signature Jesus Justice of Palestine. So there you go. So it's, I mean, going back to the Jewish thing, it's not about being Jewish. A lot of these people who support Israel are just opportunistic politicians, right-wingers, racists, you know, I mean, a lot of non-Jewish people like Israel because they hate Muslims, but that's another.
Exactly, but there is a group that has latched on for that reason. I've seen them on my stream this morning. I told them we're not interested in racists and anti-Semites. We're just not interested because you should be able to hold two thoughts in this situation, and that is what is going on in Palestine is wrong, and it's not anti-Semitic to be able to say that, and it's the conflation by media and by government that has got us to this situation. You want to say something?
Something quite interesting. The people coming out in support of Israel are getting smaller and smaller. I think half of them aren't Jewish.
Right.
More and more Jews are coming out against Israel. And actually, I was at a protest a few months ago outside one of the universities, and the Zionist group was saying, oh, Jewish students are scared on campus, protect Jewish students. But guess what? There were more Jews supporting Palestine than those shouting on the other side. But that's always hidden. Oh, BBC try their best not to show it.
BBC, did you see about that open letter this week where over 100 staff, and I think then an additional 300 have written and said that the BBC news approach to Israel is completely biased? I mean, this is not a shock, is it?
No, but there was I didn't read it properly. I will read it, but there was an earlier letter as well. 200 journalists anonymously complaining about the coverage. And there's people still think, oh, well, the BBC is reliable. Well, it's not what the BBC shows, it's what it doesn't show. And of course, it's the way it's expressed as well, just to be sort of subliminal. So you end up not caring so much about the Palestinians as you do about the Israelis who were killed.
Right, you're absolutely right.
But incidentally killed partly by the IDF anyway. And again, the BBC has not shown this. It was in Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper. It's been in Haaretz a few times, I believe, that the IDF invoked the Hannibal Directive, whereby they killed their own to prevent them being taken as hostages. They will never, ever say, it was like Hamas. I mean, Hamas is an excuse anyway.
Well, and it's that old Piers Morgan thing, isn't it? You know, it is that old thing. That's what they do to try and deflect from any of these issues. But I thought it was quite astonishing this week that Channel 4 showed the Gaza doctors documentary that the BBC refused to. That's woken up a whole new bunch of people.
That's good. That's
Powerful, really powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking to us today. What's your name?
My name's Deborah Fink, long-term Secretary of Juice of Justice for Palestinians, co-founder of Juice of Boycotting Israeli Goods.
We absolutely love it. I love Deborah's t-shirt. It says it's kosher to boycott Israeli goods.
T-shirt. You see, it's a nicer t-shirt which says Jews against war on Gaza, but it's black. So the weather's too hot to wear a black t-shirt, so I ripped up this one and this one as well. So I could wear it.
Fantastic. We love it. Deborah, you're an absolute star. Thank you.
What's your name?
My name's Sonia Poulton.
From who?
I'm a freelance journalist these days. I was part of Legacy Media for many years. Yeah, you'll be able to find it. I'm on X for a starter. Sonia Poulton, SONIA POULTON. Check me out. And I'm live streaming on X right now as well as on YouTube. Lovely to have you with us, Deborah. What a star. What an absolute star. Brilliant. Oh my God, I think the police have increased in number around these couple of guys. And there was a guy who had tried to kick off in the middle of the crowd and he was filming me. Now, oh, wait, have they got a result yet? Hold on, let's find out. Oh, here we go. Woof. Getting very hot out here now. Very interesting. As I say, this isn't normally a protest that I've been to previously. So seeing new people, which is very interesting. But also I'm checking out a couple of people who have been following me, filming me, coming as close to me as possible. And I'm in no doubt whatsoever that they are trailing me for some reason. Well, I don't care. Who cares? Not me. One life, right? One life. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Right. We're going to park up here for a moment. I'm going to take some water. I want to try and stay on for a little bit longer because I really would like to be able to talk about the outcome of the hearing today. Every time I hear big cheering, I'm assuming they've come out and said they've managed to block it. It's so cynical what the government did. And if people can't see it, it's because they either don't want to now, because it's so incredibly transparent what is taking place. This is about silencing all of us. They've been trying for the longest time. I mean, the things that Labour have always been that party. People don't realise this oftentimes. People assume that Tories must be more about a surveillance society than Labour. Actually, Labour was always much more about a surveillance society than the Tories. And it was Tony Blair when he was in government in 2006, and he visited the forensic science services, and he promised that what he would do and that what he would work towards, and they've been doing it ever since, was to get the DNA of every person. And that was used to a degree by the McCanns. Jerry McCann was saying that if they'd have had that cross-border cooperation in terms of DNA, they might have got Madeleine back sooner. I somehow doubt that, Mr. McCann. But the McCanns were obviously very useful to use to attempt to push through all manner of things. And of course, what we've heard recently is this whole idea that they are going to get DNA from babies at birth. What country does that? And that is very much part of the Labour agenda. Labour government do stuff like that. And they want to track and trace us to within an inch of our lives. And of course, the Tories, I am not a Tory, not by any stretch of the imagination. And we saw what happened with the Tories, how they tracked and traced us throughout C19. And the reality is that they need to be able to have in place digital ID. So the launch of that NHS app yesterday, I think, was particularly cynical, and not least because obviously what we'd seen the day before was Rachel Reeves, Chancellor of the Exchequer, with very teary in the Commons, and we've already talked about that this morning. And then they appeared for a photo call at an NHS, and they were launching the NHS app. Well, they call it the front door of the NHS, and they're saying that it's going to speed up appointments, and everything else that we need. But we know that it is what it really is the first step to having us tracked and traced everywhere. And the announcement that they made last week that at some stage this year, every mobile phone will have an emergency alarm go off. Have you turned yours off yet, peeps? All of it ties in together. They want to create a state of fear. That's what they want to do. And they're going some way towards doing it. And I'm here today, not only because I'm a journalist, but because I am seriously concerned about our right to free speech. Nobody is asking to be able to harm other people. I certainly don't support it. What should happen is if there are acts of criminality or vandalism, it should be tried under criminal law. And it was particularly cynical what the Home Secretary did. She knows it. We all know. I once caught up with the Home Secretary before she was the Home Secretary outside Parliament. And it was a weekend following a Bilderberg conference at which her husband, Ed Balls, was in attendance. And I said to her, do you know where your husband was this weekend? She claimed that she didn't know. So they either have a relationship, I don't believe for a second, that they're two politicians. This was when I think he was Education Secretary at the time, and a particularly bad one. He now, of course, presents Good Morning Britain, which is also incredibly biased in favour of the government. I mean, you know that there's a problem when a husband can be involved in interviewing a wife for early morning mass, for the masses to be able to have a dose of that propaganda first thing. So I wish I could see your comments. I can't. But I'm sure that Synchronized Soul is dealing with anybody who's problematic. I could, to start with, I was able to see the comments. Now I can't see them. Let me just see if that's showing me. No, and I'm really reluctant to try and push to be able to show them because I don't want to lose this. We're up to 11:39. I am going to be cutting this live stream shortly, unless there is any news. I think we've pretty much seen all we need to for now. I'm going to go back into the center of it. I have no problem. I get messages from people like, can you please keep away from all the crowds? That's not why I'm here. I'm here to get in the middle of it. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. And while I still have breath in my body, I intend to continue. I have two people here. I'm live streaming. Can I get a few words from you? No, you're okay. All right. Some people are very concerned about going on camera. Whoops. Let me follow these police, see what they're up to. I think they're being told. Let me just check it out. That cop just spotted me. Where are they being sent? Well, the crowd has gotten thicker. Let's just see. Let's go back, see if I can get any more information. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm live streaming. Anybody want to have a word? We're going to capture what they've got on their boards anyway. Sometimes, I mean, I understand that everybody wants to go on camera, right? The moment that you start hiding your face, I'm like, what the hell? Back to this right. I have no idea when they are going to announce the outcome. I will attempt to come back to the live stream. If not, I will be filmed there. Thank you for joining us on the live stream. Very much appreciate you. And even the detractors, it doesn't matter. All helps with the algorithm, doesn't it? Thank you for being here. And if I'm not able to come back to you shortly, then I will definitely be doing an update on Monday's show. Take good care of yourself. Have a good weekend.